真棒！
Today we left Lanzhou and headed north to Bayonur. So we officially entered Inner Mongolia, and our adventure itinerary is going to continue through Yinshan Mountains. It's gonna be a 4 days off-road experience through amazing landscapes. Tomorrow we go. This afternoon we have some free time and we have decided to have a look at People's Park in Bayonur. This is a place that really puts you in a good mood. It's amazing how lively this place is. Everywhere you look, people are out enjoying themselves. Some are exercising, stretching with a level of flexibility that's honestly hard to believe, while others are dancing together. There's such a warm, welcoming atmosphere. People of all ages come here to stay active, catch up with friends, and simply enjoy the day together. And of course, we couldn't just stand there and watch. Behind me, they've also prepared a small cinema with a movie about good and healthy habits. As night falls, the park becomes even more lively. Small games are set up for children, a little amusement park lights up the evening, and we ended up trying some games ourselves. The dancing carries on well into the night, while others gather to play jiangzi. One thing you'll quickly notice is how curious people are. Foreign visitors are still a rare sight in this city, so don't be surprised if someone stops to say hello and ask for a photo. And for the first dinner in Inner Mongolia, we just went straight to a barbecue with skewers of any type. This is our favorite restaurant in Bayonur, and if you come with us, we'll make sure to take you here. Today's the day. Before we head out, we meet up with one of our local experts. At Ink Veggies, we always make sure that our adventures are not just exciting, but safe too. Especially when we're driving into the middle of nowhere. And here's another member of the team. He may look like a wolf, but he's a very sweet dog, and he's joining us for the adventure. The team is ready for the expedition. We got the off-road vehicles, now we're gonna fill them up because in the desert there's no gas station. And then we go to Yinshan Mountains. We also make sure to carry extra fuel with us, better to be prepared when you're heading this deep into the wild. 40 liters. And now, let's go! Our first stop is Jilu Pass, one of the ancient gateways through the Yin Mountains. More than 2,000 years ago, this was part of the frontier between Imperial China and the vast nomadic world beyond. Emissaries, merchants, armies, and even princesses once crossed this very pass, making it one of the most important gateways along China's northern frontier.
我有这个。
你不但是你的事儿，也是我的事儿。
谢谢谢谢，噔噔。真棒。
We're now traveling through the Yinshan Mountains, a rugged range stretching nearly 1,000 kilometers across northern China. Locals even call them the 70 Black Peaks because of their endless dark rocky ridges. More than 2,000 years ago, this was also the route taken by Wang Zhaojun, one of China's most celebrated historical figures. She crossed these mountains to marry the leader of the Xiongnu, a powerful nomadic confederation that lived across the grasslands north of the Yinshan Mountains. The marriage helped bring decades of peace between the Han Dynasty and the Xiongnu.
It's surprising to find a spring out here in the desert.
Local legend says Wang Zhaojun stopped here to look back toward her homeland, and her tears became this spring. Today, only a few off-road vehicles make the journey through these mountains. The landscape kept changing as we drove west. Rocky mountains gradually gave way to wide stretches of sand.
Fast, guys! Veloce! And now we are in the experienced hands of Martina. Marty, where do you take us today?
The dune. I will take you to the dune.
Where?
Dune.
To the dune. Okay, bye Marty. Go. Go Marty, go. Yes, Marty, you're surfing it. You're surfing it. Go. Don't stop it. But good try. This riding behind me states the Hero Slope. It's a 60-degree slope that only the brave can successfully challenge. We tried, but we were not brave enough and our cars got stuck into the sand. But next time we're gonna make it. It's almost lunchtime and we're heading to a local herder's home for lunch. It's hard to imagine people living in such a remote place, but for generations, families have made their home here, raising livestock in this vast sandy landscape.
Oh, Martina drove. Brava.
Martina drove, yeah. Sì.
Brava Martina,
This place is famous for its watermelon. It's so sweet, and having fresh watermelon in the middle of the desert feels amazing. Everything on the table is local food, and the lamb is raised by this nomadic family.
After lunch, we continued our journey with a bit of rock and roll. The road got quite bumpy for a while, with rocky sections along the way, before turning back into sandy ground. With every kilometer, we could feel ourselves moving further and further away from civilization. There is something unforgettable about driving off-road through these desert and mountains. Surrounded by endless landscapes far away from cities and modern life, it's just you, the wilderness, and an incredible sense of freedom. This place is just stunning. There's no words to describe it. We are on a dune, which is at the same time a mountain, and behind us there's the beautiful grassland, which is called the Sky Grassland. This is, I said, like, posso andare a nuotare con questo. Finish the show?
Madeo just learned a good skill to drive in the desert.
Leaving the dunes behind, we progressively entered the vast Gobi Steppe. The landscape suddenly became flat and endless. But would you ever imagine that in the middle of this empty land, we were about to discover a place that feels like a piece of Tibet?
Hey, 小羊，咩咩。
So we passed from a desert with high sand dunes to a desert which is basically very flat. And in the middle of it, what we found is this temple. This temple is called the Potala Palace of Bayinur because it actually reminds of Potala Palace in Lhasa. Now it's closed because it's actually very late, but it's still so impressive to find it here in the middle of nowhere. And our exploration now took us on Mars! We arrived at this red canyon just as the afternoon light brought out its richest colors. Shaped by millions of years of wind and erosion, the red cliffs stretch across the landscape like waves of stone. It's one of those places that makes you stop for a moment and simply say, wow! And this is not alien, This is the Mongolian tents of some nomads that live here.
We're on a very tough road. Snow is so jumping. As the sun begins to set, it's time to leave the Red Canyon behind. With daylight fading fast, we need to reach our final destination before dark. Hidden deep in the desert, another hidden gem is waiting for us. Wow!
And after all these road crossing amazing landscapes, this is our arrival point today. We're in an oasis in the middle of the desert, and down there we're gonna set up our camp.
After hours of driving through the desert, everyone is ready for dinner. This is exactly what we need. Setting up camp together,
But there is working.
sharing a hot meal, and watching the desert slowly disappear into the night. Looking at the desert now, it's hard to believe that at sunrise, powerful winds shook our camp so hard that it almost flew away. But that's the beauty of the wilderness, and that's all part of the adventure.
他不吃西瓜，
是不是？
他不吃。
我想拿过去放到盆里。
这皮蛋面，这不闷着。
需要泡一会儿啊。
有点像桑拿房。
嗯，开窗户可以开那个，开那边。
还有窗户。
有。
Now it's time to refuel with a traditional Mongolian breakfast, based mainly on dairy products and dried meat. It's very tasty and provides a lot of energy. It's time to say goodbye to Malan Lake and continue our journey through the wild landscapes of the Yinshan Mountains.
And after such a tough start of the day, we could get our delicious Mongolian breakfast. Now we're ready to start our second day of expedition. It's hard to believe, but this tree has survived here for around 500 years, in a place that receives less than 100 millimeters of rain a year. It was even struck by lightning, splitting its main trunk, yet its fallen branches are still alive. Locals tie blue katas to its branches as prayers for good luck, which is why it's known as the sacred tree of the Gobi. Deep in the Gobi Desert, the landscape completely changed. Endless black volcanic rocks covered the ground. These black stones were formed by ancient volcanic activity millions of years ago. If you look carefully, you can also find colorful stones hidden among the black rocks, some of which look like precious gems. This place feels like a world far away from Earth.
Beautiful.
From here, you can see the end of the world. Driving in the desert is not easy. Sometimes the wheels can suddenly sink, and getting stuck is actually quite common. But don't worry, with some simple techniques we can easily get the vehicle out and continue our journey. We stopped at a small family-run roadside stop in this remote area, offering food and a place to rest for travelers passing through.
哎，这么巧
你也在这。
啊！你也在啊？
Out here, we're a long way from the nearest town, so getting fresh ingredients isn't easy. But despite this, our host has prepared a delicious meal for us. Have a look at today's lunch. We have some lamb dumplings, And this is Bayenor's famous Nyampi, a local cold noodle dish made from wheat flour. It looks spicy, but actually it's not. We also have beef and some vegetables. We are crossing.
The Black Gobi Desert.
We now enter the Black Gobi, a landscape shaped by nature beyond imagination. Millions of years ago, this was the basin of an ancient lake. Today, it's a vast expanse of black basalt, shifting sand dunes and scattered agate stones, the last traces of the waters that once covered this land. Driving across this endless no man's land under the scorching sun is an unforgettable feeling. No roads, no villages, just silence, endless horizons, and the freedom of the open wilderness. It feels like the rest of the world simply disappears. You can't help but feel the raw power of nature. It's a place that makes you feel both incredibly small and incredibly free. Now it's time to look for a place to spend the night. We'll be camping in Camel Canyon, and let's hope tonight is a little less windy than the last one. Very good. We passed through Black Gobi Desert and we've just reached the spot where we're going to spend the night. We are preparing the tent soon, and tonight we're going to have an amazing barbecue. The wind out here feels so fresh and surprisingly sharp. Every gust brushes against your skin like tiny little needles. It's so hard to describe our feelings while the sun slowly begins to set and the whole desert changes color. No matter how much you look, it never feels like enough. Every new angle makes your eyes hungry for more.
对面太好了，哇，太棒了，辛苦了。
And after a full day of adventure, it's not just our eyes that are hungry. Tonight we're having grilled lamb skewers and noodles in one of the most incredible dinner spots we've ever seen. But did you notice something? We still haven't set up our camp yet. Well, there's a reason for that.
坏了 ，OK。
We have changed our program. Actually, the wind is a bit stronger than what we expected, and we were afraid that it would wake us up tomorrow at 5 o'clock again. We are therefore going to sleep in our very spacious cars. Good night. We have successfully slept in the cars tonight. 3 days expedition in Inner Mongolia is just spectacular. The fact of feeling a bit of discomfort, also the fact of being woken up during the night by the strong wind, and especially the fact of being constantly immersed in spectacular landscapes throughout all the itinerary really gives you the opportunity to connect with the most adventurous part of yourself. And now, breakfast and then back on the road.
Oh, good morning. Sorry for being late. Good morning.
But I was watching beautiful things.
Good morning, 早上好.
早上好。早上好。Look how beautiful is this tree.
这边咱们不吃，放到一会儿放到这里。这边够吃，还没完事儿呢啊。
Crazy wind.
因为今天早晨咱们担心沙子，所以火腿现在还没切啊。等大家来了吃最新鲜的。
Yeah, so I want to eat
大家
now.
可以先盛粥，
哇，
哇，
What is that?
小米粥，但是改良了一下，针对加了点牛肉干和牛奶。
Another perfect breakfast before saying goodbye to this unreal place. Every time we stop somewhere like this, we wish we could stay longer. Before we leave, we're finally using the extra fuel so we can continue our journey.
Is it heavy? Very heavy.
Now less because we put a
老
lot.
沉了是吧？
20升就相当于40斤，
40斤
刚才那个60斤。
啊。
And about Camel Canyon, you might be wondering where its name comes from. For generations, local nomadic herders brought their camels here to graze and rest, giving the canyon the name it still carries today. We were even lucky enough to spot a few camels ourselves.
As we left the canyon, the strong winds that kept us awake during the night started lifting clouds of sand. Surrounded by dust and silence, it felt like we had entered a scene straight out of Mad Max, a true apocalyptic landscape at the edge of the world. We went back to a normal road because we need to reach a small town where we need to get some supply. We're running out of food. And then this afternoon we go back to the off-road part. Here we are. We have reached a small town and are having some very delicious food. Today we have lamb pies, milk tea and a local soup. We all like Mongolian food. Back on the road, the desert gives way to endless grasslands and distant mountains. Here, we're very close to the border with Mongolia and our next destination is a very spiritual place. Scattered across the Mongolian steppe, these stone mounds are known as Aobao. Traditionally built on hills and prominent landmarks, they serve not only as waypoints for nomads crossing the vast grasslands, but also as sacred places of worship.
We drink.
It's tea?
Yes,
Is it tea?
tea. Inner Mongolia tea.
Even today, especially during the Aobao festival, local communities gather here for ceremonies, offering prayers and seeking blessings for health and prosperity. Standing beside the statue of Genghis Khan, it's indeed easy to feel the nomadic DNA and identity of Inner Mongolia. And after visiting this sacred place, now we're gonna go through the Heroes Road. This road was indeed named after a local hero, and believe it or not, we are actually going to meet him later along the way. For decades, this rugged mountain track was the daily patrol route of Barin Daily Gear, a local police officer who dedicated more than 30 years of his life to serving the isolated nomadic communities living deep in these mountains. He crossed these valleys by motorcycle and on horseback, delivering supplies, helping families in emergencies, and connecting remote herders with the outside world. His determination and generous support have made life much easier for the people living in these mountains. Today, the road proudly bears his name in honor of his lifelong service. And now, it's our turn to experience Heroes Road.
Nice, very nice.
Hidden among the mountains crossed by the Heroes Road is an archaeological treasure. Across these cliffs, there are thousands of ancient rock carvings created over a period of more than 60,000 years by the nomadic peoples who once traveled, hunted and lived here. Together, they tell the story of this land long before written history. Driving through these mountains looks tough.
But actually it's not easy. Now there is only one last mountain pass and the sandy riverbed standing between us and our appointment with Baoyin Daily Gear, the hero behind Heroes Road. We'd better not keep him waiting. So let's keep going. Here we are. We finally met him.
这怎么还有一双鞋在这里？
所以他就是20年嘛，然后他20年大概骑坏8辆摩托，
骑坏了8辆摩托，他每天都要巡逻，然后送物资，对吗？
对，
哇，
就是可能今天咱们走的这条路的一节节，然后明天可能是next。
哦
Very good. Well done.
现在给鞋放回去了。
Not exactly in person, but his figure always stands here, watching over Heroes Road and welcoming everyone with a big smile. Over the past few days, we've seen so many different landscapes, but this one still caught me completely by surprise. Something about this place reminds me of Africa. It feels wild, raw, almost like the nature documentaries I used to watch as a kid. Just a few days ago, heavy rain turned this dry riverbed into a flowing river, curving it even deeper. Most of the water has already disappeared, but it's still not a place you'd want to camp. If another storm comes, flash floods can happen without much warning. So tonight, we're heading back to Bayanour for a proper night's sleep in the hotel. Tomorrow, the adventure continues as we make our way south.
Today is the last day of our expedition in Inner Mongolia, and we're gonna take you to a very special place. It seems we are on a tropical island, but actually we are in the Kubuchi Desert, surrounded by hundreds of lakes. The Chinese name of this place is Qiandaohu. Qian means thousand, Dao means highland, and Hu means lake. And once you see it from above, you will quickly understand why. This area is a great example of how water can completely transform the land. Thanks to the Yellow River and local water management projects, this once harsh and dry environment has become a place full of life. Its waters support a rich ecosystem with fish and even freshwater crabs.
Ah. 哎呀，家人们，我这个去，你把这个放地下，这样的安全。
哎，Honey，来来来。
This little dog has a name as sweet as his personality. He has been to every corner of Inner Mongolia, and this lake is one of his favorite places. And playing with him through the expedition has been so much fun.
Hey Marty! Ink Voyages!
H
change say.
change say
Yeah.
啊
Hi, Thai.
hi hi
Thai.
Thai. 对了，刚才。
Another incredible meal, especially when you're enjoying it beside a lake like this. And our adventure isn't over yet. In fact, one final surprise is still waiting for us.
Right? Yeah. It's safe. Bum. Not good, not good.
学会了吗？
学好了。
学会了。
I hope so.
So here we go, let's hit the dunes! And don't worry, even if you're not an experienced driver, our expert tour leader will stay right in the car with you, giving you all the tips you need for a safe, smooth ride. And even if you get stuck, we'll always find a way to get you out safely. The strong winds that sweep across the desert are now also being used as a source of clean energy. That's why you can see rows of giant wind turbines standing on the horizon. Going up and down the dunes is extremely fun, but it's only recommended if you have a strong stomach. Me personally, I got a bit car sick. Well, it was still worth it. Now we are inflating the tires again, because when you're in the desert you need to deflate the tires to surf the sand, and we're gonna go back to Bayanour.
谢谢啊，不客气。Good. And then we take you to the steward's restaurant. Okay?
期待下一次旅行。
My dear.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you very much. Good guide. Okay.